GM Bush here. I want to just kind of talk about how to flip on the market. One thing I've noticed a lot of is people kind of understanding how to flip the market, being able to make a little bit of stubs, but not really fully understanding the potential of how to make stubs through this. I'm going to just kind of quickly show what I've specifically done to make flipping wise, and then kind of what I think is the best cards to flip right now, what you can flip efficiently, and things of that nature, and really just I guess how to flip because I don't think it's fully understood throughout a lot of the community. This is probably the best way to make stubs, no money spent. Conquest is great, playing showdowns is great, BR is great, but this is just kind of like it feels really slow and it feels really inefficient, but then if you do this for an hour and you look back, you'll be like, oh damn, like I actually made a way more than I expected. So right off the bat, I know I've talked about this before in previous videos, but flipping stubs really, or flipping cards really just comes down to looking at the buy and the sell now and what the gap is between them. So, for example here, if you look at a card, let's say this Prince Fielder. He buys now, you could buy him right now for 300K, and you could sell him now right now for 180K. So if you had Prince Fielder in your inventory and you wanted to sell him, you could just immediately sell this man for 180,500 stubs. Great. If you wanted to buy him, you could buy him right now for 300,000 stubs. Also great. So if there's someone out there who just earned Prince Fielder, I believe he's one of the World Series rewards from ranked seasons. They earn him, and they don't want to sit around. They just want to sell him. So they're going to sell him to the guy who has 180K bid up. So let's say you put one up for 181K. He sells him to you. You've now bought Prince Fielder for 181,000 stubs. Now, to flip him, you can say I will sell him to someone for 299,000 stubs. Someone buys it, you sold him for 299. That right off the bat is about 128K give or take of a difference. Now the big thing people forget about is there is a tax. If or the tax is 10%. So if you sell him for 300,000 or 299,000, you're going to lose 29,900 stubs just from tax. It's just not going to be part of the sale. So then, okay, so you sold him for 299, take away the 29,900 stubs, and you're looking more at about 270K that you've made off of selling the card. Now, because you bought him for 181, you've still profited 90,000 stubs, which is fantastic. That's the general idea of flipping. But how do you do it efficiently? I will tell you right now, this Prince Fielder card, first off, I don't think he actually sells for 300K. I just think there's not many of them up on the auction. So what you can do is you can press triangle or Y, I believe, on the Xbox. Head over to Marketplace, and you'll see, okay, he's actually sold for 500K. So I stand corrected. Someone bought him for 500,000 stubs. But he's not going to move often. He's not going to sell often. You might be able to flip him, maybe, but instead of it taking 5 minutes, it might take you hours and hours just to flip this card. So that's kind of inefficient. So what I like to do personally is I like to do two things. One, I just like to go to the live series cards. People are trying to do collections. People are trying to, get their favorite player, whatever it may be. That means live series cards are flipping quickly. Now you might look at, let's say this Acuna. There is an 8K gap, right? This is not profitable. If you tried to flip this card right now, you would lose about 7,000 stubs because after the tax comes through on the 144K, 145K sell, you lose 14 to 15,000 stubs. So again, that's something you really need to keep in mind. So if we go down through this list, I'm not really seeing much of profit right off the bat. You could profit a little bit off the Shane Bieber, a couple hundred stubs. But if we keep going through here, you're going to see some that really pop out as good profit. So this Lindor right here, probably an 800 stub profit. If he flips quickly, if you buy him and sell him in a minute or two, it's quick 800 stubs. Doesn't seem like much, doesn't feel like much, but if you do that 10 times, you've now made 8,000 stubs. Just like that. To really maximize though, and I will say quickly too, this Bregman, he always seems to have a big gap. So if you bought him for just under 17K and you sold him for just under 20K, you've made about 1,000 stubs. Now, the way I've been doing it is I like to do the golds. Again, it doesn't feel like much, but it adds up so quickly that you kind of forget about it. And before you know it, you're like, damn, I've made a lot of stubs. Right here, this Alonso. I've been flipping him a bunch, probably 400 stubs a piece. I'll put in a buy order for him right now. See if it goes through. Well, this video is going on. So 53.31. I'm just gonna go one stub up. There's no reason to do more than that, and we'll wait and see if someone sells him to me for 55.31. If they do, get him for 5,500 roughly, and I sell him for 6,600 roughly. There's about a 400 stub profit after tax, which is, you know, like I said, doesn't feel like much, but if I do that 5 times, it's 2,000 stubs. Adds up. The biggest thing you want to look for, try and think about, is what can I flip quickly? Because you can look for the big flips, like that Prince Fielder, make 80, 90K, but you do it once in 6 hours. Not, it's about 1,500 or 15K an hour, which isn't great. As you can see, too, Pete Alonso just sold, so we're gonna put him up. Looking at it, I see 64.99, 65, and then 66. I'm gonna put this up for 65.99. I think those two in front of them are gonna sell, and then mine will be next up to bat to sell. So you want to be efficient with your flips. If I flip this Pete Alonso 30 times in an hour, which is very doable, you can see how quickly that went through. That's almost as good as the Prince Fielder. But if you start flipping other things as well, more than just the Pete Alonso, maybe you flip this Tim Anderson for about 400 stubs. Maybe this Giolito is really good right now. This is probably 500 stubs. If you do it enough, and people are always buying and selling golds, that's how you make your stubs, is just being efficient with it. Making quick, consistent flips of just a couple hundred stubs. It just adds up so quickly. Another thing I would really recommend looking at, they're not as quick as gold players, but these diamond equipments have huge profit margins. So if you have enough stubs to just throw on a bid and kind of let it sit around for a while, you really can make a lot. If we go through here, my completed, I bought this Pro Collection for 36K, and I bought this Varo wrap sleeve for 8K, give or take. If we look at this quickly, the collection is about 43K. So if that sells, I make about 3K profit. And then the wrap sleeve was about 11K. I think it's gone down. Yeah, it's about 10.5K, but I'm just sitting on it, and I'll wait, and I'll let it sell, and it's about 1,000 stub profit. I had the stubs to let them sit there and let the orders go through. That's where having stubs can be helpful. If you have enough stubs, you can go for the equipment. Equipment almost always has the margin, but it takes forever to sell. Players are harder to find a margin, but especially the Gold Live Series sell quicker. What I would recommend is if you're sitting on let's say you're sitting under 10K, flip silvers and golds. The profit margin isn't massive, but it happens so quickly. You could flip a silver once every minute, once every 40 seconds if the servers are going quick, and a gold once every minute or two. And if you flip, let's say 30 golds in an hour at 500 stubs, you made 15K. Sometimes it's more than 500 stubs, sometimes it's a little less, but it's quick and it's efficient. And that's really what you want to look for. Small margin gaps that, obviously the bigger the gap, the better, but let's just talk small margin gaps. Huge turnaround, though, because it just flips so quickly. I think I've seen people who have a lot of stubs who have made 10, 20, 30, 40,000 stubs in an hour. If you don't have a lot of stubs, you're not going to be making that kind of return on your investment in an hour. But if you do it with 10K, you might make 5K in an hour, or 10K. You might double what you have in an hour. And then if you now take your 20K that you have and you invest it all and you do it in an hour, you might make 20K back. And you can not always just double what you have, but you can make more if you have more stubs. So I highly, highly recommend save up some stubs, start flipping. What I do typically is I put up a bunch of buy orders. Maybe I'll put up 8, 10 buy orders of golds, silvers, whatever I may be trying to flip, equipment. And then I go play maybe a conquest game, a couple, I guess you'd call them showdown events. things of that nature. Then I come back, half of my stuff has gone through, the other half hasn't. Maybe I cancel it if it's not gonna, if it's been completely, someone's completely outbid me or whatever. Um, and then I relist or I go look at other things to list on, and then I go back into my showdown. And it's not as efficient as just sitting on the market and flipping the second something goes through, but it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. That's how I've been doing it. I think I've made it up to about probably I went from I think the fastest turnaround I've had this year so far was I went from about 40K to 80K in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, you're not always going to be able to do that, but that's what I would do. That's what I recommend. That's how I would flip the market. These prices do change, and just one more quick thing to look at. If something seems outrageously just strange, doesn't seem normal, check the card. Sometimes the market is in a weird spot, and maybe someone buys up all the Josh Donaldsons, so then he's selling for 50K. He doesn't actually sell for 50K. If you see that gap and you think he actually sells for 50K and you buy him for 33, you could quickly lose Stubs. The best way you can do this, again, like I said earlier, press triangle on the card. It's going to load up here. Go to marketplace, and you can see what it's been going for at buy now and sell now throughout the week, throughout the month, whatever it may be at the point in time you're playing. So just check it. If it seems weird, if the price doesn't seem right, if you see a gold going for 20K for some reason, check it. I guarantee it's not accurate. Other than that, just make smart, safe investments. Like I said, consistently. This Bob Gibson might be a good investment. There's a 5K gap right now. And he's going for 3,600. That's over 1,000 Stubs profit. But anyways, yeah, I hope these tips help you. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know sometimes I might not explain things perfectly. I've been playing the game for years now, and sometimes it's little things that I forget to mention. Other than that, any suggestions for the videos, let me know. And please if you enjoyed the content, if the tips helped you, please leave a like and subscribe. Trying to make it to 50 subscribers as soon as we can. Hopefully within the next month, if we can, that would be amazing. And yeah, have a great day, guys.